Hello. Welcome to Two World Beliefs channel. We're so glad you're here. If you enjoy inspiring stories, Bible stories brought to life, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button if you find this video helpful and subscribe to join our growing community. Tap the bell icon too, so you never miss an upload. Let's dive in. The Fiery Furnace, a tale of unshakable faith. In the ancient land of Babylon, under the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, the empire was at the height of its power. The king, known for his conquest and grandeur, had recently constructed a massive golden statue, towering over the city at nearly 90 feet tall. It gleamed brightly under the sun, a symbol of his might and his gods. The king issued a decree to all the people, calling governors, officials, and every citizen to gather for the dedication of this idol. The atmosphere was filled with anticipation as the crowd assembled on the vast plains of Dura. Trumpets blared, drums thundered, and a hush fell over the crowd as a herald stepped forward and declared in a booming voice, "People of every nation and language, this is a command. When you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, and all kinds of music, you must bow down and worship the golden statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace." Daniel 3 verses 4 to 6. The music began, a blend of sounds that echoed across the plains, and like a wave, the crowd fell to their knees, bowing before the golden idol. Yet, amidst the sea of bowed heads, three men stood tall, unmoved. Their names were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the one true God. The accusation. Soon, whispers spread through the crowd. Did you see them? They did not bow, angry and envious. Some of the king's officials seized the opportunity and approached Nebuchadnezzar. "O king, live forever," they began with false loyalty. "You have issued a decree that everyone must bow when they hear the music. But there are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They pay no attention to you, O king. They do not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." Nebuchadnezzar's face twisted with fury. He summoned the three men before him, and they stood firm, their faces serene and unwavering. "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego," he demanded, "that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? I will give you one more chance. When the music plays, if you bow down and worship, it will be well. But if you do not, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace. And then, what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?" Daniel 3 verses 14 to 15. The bold response. The three men exchanged a look of calm assurance. Shadrach stepped forward, his voice steady and clear. "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. But even if he does not, we want you to know that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." Daniel 3 verses 16 to 18. The king's rage was beyond measure. His face turned red, and he ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual. The flames roared and crackled, so intense that even those standing near could feel the searing heat. Into the flames, Nebuchadnezzar's strongest soldiers seized Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, binding them tightly with ropes. Without another word, they were dragged to the edge of the furnace. The heat was unbearable. The soldiers who threw them in were themselves consumed by the flames, collapsing in agony. But as the three men fell into the heart of the fire, something miraculous happened. Instead of screams, there was silence. Instead of the smell of burning flesh, there was the scent of something sweet, almost like incense. The crowd gasped and pointed, eyes wide with shock and fear. King Nebuchadnezzar leapt to his feet, peering into the furnace with disbelief. He turned to his advisors, his voice filled with panic. "Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" "Certainly, O king," they replied, equally baffled. "Look," the king shouted, his voice trembling. I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods. Daniel 3 verses 24 to 25. Divine protection. Inside the furnace, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were no longer bound. They walked freely, and standing with them was a 4th figure, radiant and calm, his presence a shield against the raging flames. The men felt an overwhelming sense of peace. They knew without a doubt that it was the angel of the Lord, sent to protect them. Nebuchadnezzar approached the furnace, still feeling the intense heat, but compelled by what he had seen. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God. "Come out! Come here!" he called. The 3 men emerged from the fire, not a hair on their head singed, their clothes untouched by the flames. There wasn't even the smell of smoke on them. The crowd stared in awe. Murmurs filled the air. The king's decree. Nebuchadnezzar's pride melted away in the face of this miracle. He looked at the men with newfound respect, his voice filled with reverence. Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied my command. Therefore, I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against their God be cut to pieces, for no other God can save in this way. Daniel 3 verses 28 to 29. The crowd erupted in praise, and the story of the 3 men who walked through the fire spread far and wide. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego returned to their duties, their faith stronger than ever, and their lives a testimony to the power and protection of the one true God. The lesson, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego teaches us about the importance of standing firm in our beliefs, even in the face of life-threatening consequences. Their faith was unshakable, and their trust in God was rewarded in a miraculous way. It is a powerful reminder that in our own fiery trials, God walks with us, shielding us from the flames and turning our trials into testimonies. After the furnace, the legacy of faith. As the 3 men left the furnace and walked back into the crowd, there was a reverent silence. The people of Babylon had seen many wonders under the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar: vast palaces, towering statues, and fierce battles. But never before had they witnessed such a divine display of power. Whispers filled the air as everyone, from the commoners to the officials, struggled to make sense of what they had seen. It was as if the flames bowed to them, murmured one of the soldiers, his face pale with awe. "They walked with an angel," another exclaimed, still shaking. "What kind of God can do such a thing?" A changed king, Nebuchadnezzar, who had moments earlier been filled with wrath, now stood in humbled silence. He was not a man easily swayed, but the sight of the 3 men emerging from the furnace without even a hint of smoke on their clothes had shaken him to his core. He motioned for his royal scribe to come forward. "Write this decree," the king commanded, his voice softer but filled with authority. "Let it be known throughout all of Babylon and at every corner of my empire. The God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is to be honored and respected, for no other God can rescue in this way. Any person who speaks against their God will face severe consequences, for he alone has shown a power greater than our own gods." The scribe quickly scribbled down the king's words, knowing that this new decree would change the very fabric of Babylon's culture. It was a monumental shift, a pagan king acknowledging the power of the God of Israel. Nebuchadnezzar then approached Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, his tone filled with something new: respect. "You have proven your faith beyond measure," he admitted. "Your God has shown me something I could not deny, even in my pride. From this day forth, you shall hold even higher positions in my kingdom. You have shown me that true power does not come from gold statues or human authority, but from a higher, unseen force." A moment of reflection. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the 3 friends gathered on a hill overlooking the city. The sky was painted with hues of red and gold, as if echoing the fire from which they had been saved. The air was cool, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the nearby trees. "Do you remember when we were first brought here as captives?" Meshach asked quietly, gazing at the city below. "We were just boys then, frightened and far from home." Shadrach nodded. "I remember. It felt like the end of everything we knew. But God has been with us every step of the way, even here in a foreign land." Abednego, the youngest of the three, looked up at the sky, his eyes filled with a deep, unwavering faith. "Today, we face the flames and did not burn. Our God is truly mighty. He not only saved us, but used our trial to show his power to the entire kingdom." There was a moment of silence, filled only by the sound of the wind. The three men knew that their journey of faith was far from over. Babylon was still a land filled with idolatry and pagan worship. But they also knew that today's miracle would echo through the generations. "People will tell this story for years to come," Shadrach said, his voice filled with quiet conviction. "Not just here in Babylon, but all over the world. They will tell their children about the day three men walked through the fire with an angel by their side. And they will know," Meshach added, "that our God is a God who saves, a God who stands with us in the flames, a fire that burns brighter." The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego became a legend in Babylon. It was recounted around campfires, whispered in the marketplace, and shared by travelers who passed through the kingdom. Many were inspired by the courage of the three men who had stood firm in their faith, even when facing death. Others were drawn to the mysterious fourth figure who had walked with them in the fire, a figure who many believed was an angel, and some even speculated could have been a divine appearance of God himself. The miracle in the furnace marked a turning point for the people of Babylon. Though the kingdom did not immediately turn away from its idols, the seeds of doubt were planted in the hearts of many. They had seen with their own eyes that the God of Israel was unlike any of their own deities. He was a God who answered in the midst of the storm, who stood with his people in their trials, and who could deliver from even the fiercest flames. A lasting legacy. Years later, as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego grew older, they continued to serve in Nebuchadnezzar's court. They were respected not just for their wisdom and leadership, but for their unwavering faith. Many sought their counsel, not just on matters of the kingdom, but on the matters of the heart and spirit. One day, a young boy approached them in the courtyard of the palace. His eyes were wide with wonder as he asked, "Is it true? Did you really walk through fire?" Shadrach knelt down to the boy's level, smiling gently. "Yes, it's true," he said. "But it wasn't because of our strength. It was because of our God's power. He stood with us in the fire and made sure we were not harmed." "Will he stand with me too?" the boy asked, his voice small and hopeful. Meshach ruffled the boy's hair. "If you put your trust in him," he said, "he will always be with you, even in the toughest of times." The boy smiled, a light of hope in his eyes, and ran off to tell his friends. The eternal flame. The legacy of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego lived on, not just in Babylon, but far beyond its borders. Their story became a symbol of unshakable faith, a reminder that no matter how hot the flames of life's trials may get, God is able to protect, deliver, and walk with his people. And so, their story continues to be told today, a beacon of hope for anyone who finds themselves facing their own fiery furnace. It is a testament to the power of standing firm in your beliefs, of trusting in a God who is mightier than any earthly power. For just as he was with them, he promises to be with us, shielding us from the flames and turning our trials into testimonies. The fire that once threatened to consume them now burns in the hearts of those who hear their story, a fire of faith, courage, and the unbreakable promise of God's presence.